We're talking Marvel and China today. It's looking like it's going to be pretty interesting going forward. Listen, we're talking some Biden, nothing too crazy. I know we've been hitting on Biden a little hard, but this administration is doing some wild stuff, and we got some more stuff going on, some geeky stuff, some nerdy stuff. So y'all, check it out.
Reporting District, Division Plus Master B.
Yeah! Welcome to the Social Millennial Podcast. We out here, gang. Listen, I've survived. Y'all have survived. Shouts to those who did not make it. Shouts to those who lost loved ones, because we're still losing people to COVID. You know, our hearts are with you. Our prayers are with you. We're out here persevering, trying to make it through, taking it day by day. Congrats to y'all that have not lost your minds. Make sure to be mindful. Make sure to be conscientious. Make sure to, in the words of Cat Williams, stay in touch with your star player. Stay in tune with your star player. Making sure you're staying in your bag. Making sure you're getting your money. Doing what you got to do. You feel me? Shouts to y'all. We NYC. We're the USA. We're making it through. I know the administration is acting a little wild. I know Cali is out there. Governor Newsom's acting a little wild. But we out here. Gang. You feel me? 10 toes down. Now, we're not going to be too long, I don't think, today. We talking about some things. Some things that interested me today. For those of you who are listening to us for the first time, this is the Social Millennial Podcast. This is just a place where we kick back. I just talk about some things that happened during the week that interested me. I don't cover all the news. This is not necessarily a super news podcast, but I do hit the news. There's a lot of things going on in the world, a lot of things I like to talk about, and a lot of things that interest me. Varying things. Entertainment, sports, namely combat sports, movies, films, other goings-ons, politics. So hopefully y'all enjoy. Thanks for listening. If you clicked over, we have a visual component. And for those of y'all watching, thank y'all for staying with us. If you're watching for the first time, the Social Millennial Podcast, y'all heard it. This is what it is. If y'all want to find us, y'all want to connect with us, please make sure to smash the like button on YouTube, slice it in half, beat it up till it's sizzling, and make sure to comment, please. Like, subscribe, comment. It's important. We want to hear from y'all. You will be hearing the sounds of NYC in the background. It's gonna be an enjoyable time. All right, make sure hit the little bell icon for YouTube. We're on social media at Social Millennial Pod with one N. It's gonna be linked up there, or at least the wording is gonna be there, as always, or as available. Based on the platform that you are viewing this or listening to this on, there will be the links in the description of the stories that we're going to talk about today, that I'm going to hit on today. So make sure to hit that up if y'all want to see for yourselves what's going on. I know sometimes things sound outrageous, or it's just too crazy to be true, but you can find it there. All right, y'all. So, and also, I keep forgetting, we've got merch, y'all. We have merch. We have it. You feel me? Your dude has come up. We had the level up. We got the upgrade. Merch. We've got mugs. We've got travel cups. We've got everything from phone cases to t-shirts and hoodies with the fall coming in. Y'all know where it is. All kinds of colors. Hit it up. All right. I'm going to be letting y'all know when I'm having some giveaways, when I'm having some discounts going on. So stay tuned with that. Now that that's out the way, let's get to it. First thing I'm going to talk about, Dear Evan Hansen, Broadway play, a Broadway musical, Broadway theater musical. I don't know if any of y'all saw it. I know some of my dudes out here at NYC, it Broadway seems to be mostly for individuals of certain kinds of tax brackets and tourists. I would be hard pressed to go out to the to Brooklyn, Canarsie, the BX, and be like, yo, have y'all seen the latest Broadway musical? It ain't out here. They don't even really advertise too much on the billboards or anything like that out here. But for those of y'all who don't know, Dear Evan Hansen, beloved musical theater, beloved musical on Broadway, won Mad Awards when it dropped. Yeah, I like it. It's one of the coolest to me, at least musically. I really like the music. The music is hella solid. Made a star out of Ben Platt. You might recognize Ben Platt if y'all haven't seen this musical from I believe he was in. I mean, he was in a Netflix series, streaming series. I forget what it's called. It was a political drama with Gwyneth Paltrow, and he was also in Pitch Perfect, the first one. I don't think he was in the second one. But the movie came out. They did the movie. They did the film. They turned the Broadway musical into a film. And I mean, I knew the story was kind of problematic, but my guy, you look at it as a Broadway musical, you look at it on the stage, you kind of give it certain kinds of passes, you consider it in certain ways because you're viewing it in the way that it's being presented to you. I knew that if you view it from a real world lens, it's got some problems, the music notwithstanding. So they released the film, and exactly what I thought was going to happen happened. So it's just 2 stars. A lot of places are giving it two stars. Citing the story. The story is just hella problematic. I've got a nice little review here by Den of Geek. This is David Crow. The headline reads, "Dear Evan Hansen may be the most uncomfortable musical ever made." Now, one of my big pet peeves about this movie when I saw the trailer, at first I was hella excited. Like all the way, I saw the trailer in the movie theater. I was like, "Oh snap, this is wild!" And then I saw who was playing the main character, who was playing our guy, and they brought back Ben Platt to play a high schooler. Now, when the show first hit Broadway, Ben Platt was younger. I don't think he was a super teenager at that time. He might have been, but I don't think he was. But he could pass for a teenager. Now we've got Ben Platt years and years later, late 20s, and looks like he's in his 30s, and they're trying to make him look like a high schooler. And it really looked bad, even in the trailers. And so once I saw that he was the dude that was doing it, that was there reprising his role, I was like, yeah, nah, that's a misstep. That's a misstep. Y'all needed to get somebody else and just let the popularity of the Broadway musical be what it is on Broadway. You know, it did what it needed to do for Ben Platt. No shade on Ben Platt. Cool dude, voice is crazy. He had to sing crazy for Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway. It did what it needed to do for him. I don't think we needed him to come back for the movie. So I knew that was a misstep immediately. And then I also knew that the plot was going to be a misstep to try to adapt into a movie and be not as problematic. Considering when we watch a movie and it seems like it's set in the real world, we look at it through a real life lens. Like, what if this was real life? And it just doesn't hold up. So let me hit a few excerpts. There was a moment near the beginning of Robert Zemeckis' odyssey into mocap animation where the press believed the magic trick. Yes, these soulless, dead-eyed automatons who kind of look like Tom Hanks in a Santa suit are the future. We were told, at least. Yet no matter how much digital snow was drawn on Hanks' head, never once did anyone feel Christmas cheer. I was reminded of this trip to the uncanny valley while watching Dear Evan Hansen, and not just because of the incredulity of producers thinking actor Ben Platt could still pass for a teenager while pushing 30. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. To be sure, there is some definite Steve Buscemi with a skateboard energy on the way Platt hunches his shoulders and quivers his lip, attempting to mimic his high school awkwardness and appearing just awkward. However, you need to be John Travolta or Olivia Newton-John to lull an audience into a suspension of disbelief. No, the issue with Dear Evan Hansen isn't a tone-deaf and wall-to-wall cringe of a plot that somehow got a pass on stage. Whether something was lost in translation or if intent was mistaken for achievement is not exactly clear. But either way, this is a stunning whiff on a fundamental level, one which spectacularly misreads the implications of its fable and naively endorses the healing power of social media likes. If this were on one of those apps, you would unsubscribe. So, yeah, haven't seen the film yet. It kind of what I thought was going to happen with this movie is happening. Most critics are like, yeah, nah, yeah, nah, yeah, nah, for those specific reasons. All of them saying the same thing. It's a strange, uncanny valley. They used some de-aging technology on Ben Platt, but it's still, he looks, there's one headline that was like, talked about the ghoulish Ben Platt. I was like, dag, this dude's getting a rough go at it. But it just wasn't smart. It wasn't a smart idea. What do y'all think though? Because I feel like this idea of, I don't know. No, let me not go there. The question is, do y'all think that de-aging technology has made it enough that that we'd be able to bring back a lot of our, some deceased stars, be able to allow some of our current stars who are up in age be able to do what they need to do? Do y'all think it's evolved enough? It's gotten there enough? I don't feel like it's quite there enough. For example, for those of y'all who don't even really notice it, in Captain Marvel, Sam Jackson, he was de-aged for that movie, and it kind of worked, kind of sorta. We had de-aging technology in Ant-Man and the Wasp, which it did kind of well, didn't do too bad. But yeah, how far do you think it should go? I'm wondering too if they're going to do de-aging on Harrison Ford, because there is, believe it or not, a new Indiana Jones movie coming. He had already gotten injured on set. It's been a thing. But this dude, I don't understand. No shade to Harrison Ford. He is a legend. He is an icon. But my gosh, man, how could they make a whole other one? This dude is ancient. Ancient. And not to be disrespectful, it's just, he's hella up in years. Hella up in years. I don't understand how he wanted so bad for Han Solo to die in the Star Wars universe so he doesn't have to come back, and then still come back and do another Indiana Jones. What? I thought he would be done with acting after that, after he finally got them to kill Han Solo, and that's it. That was his last hurrah. It was over. But man, came right back to the money-making machine. Jeez Louise, what do y'all think about that? Do y'all think we need another Indiana Jones? I feel like nobody was asking for another Indiana Jones. You feel me? I certainly wasn't. We finished with Shia LaBeouf playing Mutt Lang, and maybe it was the torch was handed down, and maybe that's what they thought they were gonna do, but it never came to fruition. I was comfortable with that. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull wasn't, my top Indiana Jones movie, but it was there. At that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Harrison Ford was too old for that. It was like the suspension of disbelief was like wire thin. So it's like, dude, you're ancient. You're not taking these falls. You're not jumping off of this. You're just not. I mean, bad CG aside, it was just, by the end of it, I was glad it was over. But what do y'all think about that? It's very, very interesting. It happened the way that I expected it to happen with Dear Evan Hansen. It's beloved on Broadway, but I knew it wasn't going to translate well to the big screen, to the silver screen. It wasn't. And on top of that, they had Ben Platt come back. I was like, yeah, nah, no one's going to believe that this guy is a teenager. And then he was standing in the trailer. He's there with the other high school students. There are other actors there that are actually teenagers or actually really, really young. And he looks like he doesn't belong there. It's like, all right. Okay, I roll. Next up, let's get into some geeky stuff. Yeah. Something really cool. A cool little science tidbit that ended up happening, an engineering tidbit that ended up happening. For those of y'all who don't remember, there used to be a plane, a supersonic plane called the Concorde, that used to fly popularly from New York to London. And supersonic, it used to break the sound barrier. It was like 2,000 miles per hour, something like that. They used to have to build special sort of terminals for it with the airport because it came in so hot, it would just blow out all the windows of a regular terminal. So they had to build special stuff for it so it can come in. It lifted off a specific way. It landed a specific way. It was very interesting. It's a very interesting feat of technological wonder at the time. For those of you who don't remember, there were a few accidents. There was a big crash that had happened. The Concorde ended up getting taken out of commission. Part of the issues of the technology in order to get faster had to do with overheating. The engines would overheat. They couldn't cool them down going supersonic speeds enough for passenger flight. For the planes to just keep being used and used and used and used and used and used and used over again. So you can imagine the cost of maintaining supersonic planes was very, very high. And so the technology just lay sort of dormant, or just no one really went and revisited it to try to revolutionize that technology for passenger airlines, which is why we haven't had much of a speed change in terms of air travel times, because no one's been really focusing too much on developing that technology any further than what it already is, because of the problems with the supersonic jet engines of the Concorde. But now, we may have a reinvigorated scientific interest and engineering interest in pushing for developing hypersonic flight. This is according to the Irish Mirror. Travel from London to New York could take just 90 minutes thanks to hypersonic flight breakthrough. All right, listen. So these dudes, researchers at RMIT University in Melbourne, Australia, have developed a new piece of technology that will bring the possibility of hypersonic flight one step closer. It was revealed this week that a team has developed 3D printed catalysts, which they say can power hypersonic flight. The piece of equipment acts as a cooling agent to combat the extreme heat generated from aircraft fly at or above Mach 5, or 5 times the speed of sound, which is 6,100 kilometers per hour. If this technology was put into use on commercial airliners, it would mean that passengers would be able to head from London to New York in as little as 90 minutes. Which is cool. In the past, there was a major problem with overheating associated with hypersonic flight, which has halted scientists in their paths to enhancing the speed of travel. The latest breakthrough by researchers at RMIT's Center for Advanced Materials and Industrial Chemistry could possibly ensure that flights from London to Sydney were shortened to 4 hours. So pretty interesting. These are 3D printed catalysts. They're like miniature, according to the researchers. This is speaking about their creation. Roxanne Hubesht. Sorry, girl. The research report's first author said, "Our 3D printed catalysts are like miniature chemical reactors, and what makes them so incredibly effective is that mix of metal and synthetic materials." They've already had sort of closed tests of it. But I assume that they're hoping for funding to be able to all the way fabricate this outside of just a closed test and test it with an engine. They sort of just saw what the catalysts do with the heat that's generated during flight. So they sort of just recreated the conditions, the high heat conditions, so that the catalysts could be viewed in action. So I hope that they get the grants that they need. I mean, the military is going to want it 100%. To be able to give all of their jets hypersonic, the ability to travel hypersonic, ooh, that would be crazy. So I can imagine the military contracts would come in before government subsidies to provide the technology, patented technology, to Boeing and so on and so forth. But good on them. We might be getting a bump in our travel times. I wonder how that rollout would end up looking. For my engineering geeks and my science geeks, I wonder how that would think. I wonder if we're finally going to be able to get a supersonic plane and a terminal that can hold it, where it doesn't have to lift off in the way that the Concorde did, and land in the way that the Concorde did, because it did like this interesting. For those who don't know, y'all could look this up on YouTube. The Concorde taking off and things. It did this thing where it would come up like that, And when it came down, it would do this thing, the same kind of thing where it would come down like this. Like it would get to a certain speed and would come down. And so the cockpit would hinge like that, so that the pilots could see where they're going, and that's how it would then hit the ground and then flatten back out again. Very, very interesting piece of technology, a piece of ingenuity. So I'm wondering how that would work for hypersonic jets, and I'm hoping that it would just be a normal thing. Like it wouldn't have to be something extra, some other hoop that you had to jump through in order to get it to do what it needs to do, you know? But yeah, what do y'all think about that? Science is wild. Science is wild. And it's wild that we're at the point that if you know your stuff, you've got a 3D printer, you've got access to you got access to fabricate, you got access to CAD software and things where you could fabricate materials and so on. And you are really driven. You can develop technologies from your home, develop new technologies from your garage in a way that others couldn't. In a way that, well, you know, we could kind of start to show you what the idea of what we developed is, this new revolutionary thing, but we can't really all the way execute a prototype because we don't have access to the metals and the things. But now, I mean, it still takes money to do, but you could do it. You could theoretically develop a technology just out of 3D printed parts for proof of concept and do your thing, patent it and sell it, which is wild. What a world that we live in. Just 20 years ago, you couldn't do that. I remember a time when 3D printing didn't exist at all. So this is amazing. What do y'all think? You know, let me know in the comments where available. What do y'all think about this hypersonic flight? What do you think the dangers are of introducing or reintroducing a boom or a renewed interest in hypersonic flight? Do you think there might be an arms race militarily? Let me know, because I think that's a possibility. With an invention, a development like this, it will create interests in all of the things surrounding that discovery. So like if you've got, so they created a catalyst to help cool down the hypersonic engine. Thus making the parts last longer, thus making the ability to do more flights last longer, thus making the danger of hypersonic flight much less. So now you've got materials manufacturers now. There's an interest there in order to figure out how to make it even more affordable, supersonic flight. There's interest in terminals and structural material development, and how to build the terminals, tarmacs, and so on. You get interior design developments. Who's going to design? Who's going to design the exterior? Who's going to design the interior? How is it going to be furnished? So on. So it develops the interest in all of the other areas surrounding the thing. So I'm wondering militarily, and that's for better or for worse. So you come up with a way to make this technology much more viable, and now you have the military wanting it. You have the government wanting it in general. So big kudos to these researchers, but also watch y'all backs, because the government, it's happened in the past. If y'all look it up, the government has done everything that they could to suppress certain technologies so that they can get those technologies from Americans, steal it from them so they can make money off of it, or they can keep it off of the market, keep certain inventions off of the market because it destroys certain parts of the economy, or it would stand to. Look it up. It's very, very interesting. A lot of cloak and dagger FBI tailing and bugging of phones and all kinds of things go on. So check that out. But let me know what y'all think. Y'all think this is gonna be cool? Y'all gonna jump on a hypersonic flight? I know we were talking about recently, or what went down recently with Jeff Bezos and what's his name, Branson, trying to go up, or not trying to, but going up in their space flight planes. They're trying to. Branson's been working for a long time to make space passenger space flights available to the masses, and developing that technology. He's been doing this for a long time. It's been his dream to come up with an airliner that can ferry passengers through space. We've been talking about that, but wow. Imagine, right? Hypersonic flight, and we're able to go across the United States in an hour, like mad quick. That'd be crazy. But yeah, moving on. So let's get into some. No, we're not going to get into the cheeky stuff yet. We have a little something going down with Marvel and China. In a previous episode, I did talk a little bit about China not really liking Shang-Chi, like not really wanting Shang-Chi. They thought it was going to be a Fu Manchu thing. They didn't like Simu Liu as the lead. So in China, communist CCP, the government has to approve all of the movies that are released to the general public. So if the government is offended by it, if it talks bad about communism, if it talks bad about China, if anybody in it talks bad about China, and anybody in it talks bad about communism, then they don't approve the movie to be released in China. That's how much the government controls China. That's government control. So when you hear Dems and socialists and so on and Marxists and so on wanting you to sort of give up your rights and let the government handle it, the end of that, like what ends up happening, what is the end result if you play that out to the end? You get China and the CCP. You get Mussolini and Italy. You get fascism. For those who don't know, look it up, do your studies. That is 100% what it is. It is not a conspiracy theory. So the Chinese government have not been quick to approve Shang-Chi to be released in China, which is a big deal because right now the Chinese market is the largest theatrical market. With COVID having happened, and a lot of the hesitancy going back into the theaters and social distancing and everything that's been happening, China is the booming market. It was a booming market before, but now it's super the booming market. Like so much more dependence on the Chinese market is happening now. Is super heavy now because movies got to make their money back, and American audiences are not necessarily going back to the theaters the way that they were going to the theaters before COVID. And so headline reads, this is a Business Insider. Why Marvel's Shang-Chi may not be released in China and what it means for Hollywood's future. Disney Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is a box office hit after opening with $94 million over the 4-day Labor Day weekend. But the movie, which is the first Marvel Cinematic Universe entry headlined by an Asian character, still doesn't have a release date in the world's largest theatrical market, China, where foreign releases must be approved by the local government. Deadline reported on Friday that a date may be out of reach after 2017 comments made by star Simu Liu resurfaced this week on Chinese social media, in which Liu called China a third world country. The movie had already faced controversy over the title character's comic book history. When first introduced in 1973, Shang-Chi's father was Fu Manchu, a character now considered to have perpetuated racist Asian stereotypes. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige has addressed Shang-Chi's comic history, which has been rewritten multiple times over the years. Feige says, definitively, Fu Manchu is not in this movie, is not Shang-Chi's father, and again, is not even a Marvel character, and hasn't been for decades. But beyond any concerns about the movie itself, Shang-Chi's China release, or lack thereof, reflects the country's media crackdown and the changing nature of its relationship with Hollywood, which has relied on the China box office to boost big-budget tentpoles. Disney did not return a request for comment for this story. So this is a thing. The CCP, for whatever reasons that are pertinent to them, are cracking down on what the criteria are for foreign films to be able to be shown in China. They're getting much more strict. But I don't know. I don't see this as anything weird. I expect that from the CCP. It's a similar thing. So think identity politics that's been going on. Think about cancel culture that's been going on, where someone or a group of people decide to dig in a celebrity's tweets, or dig in a director's tweets, or dig in a politician's tweets, and go back years and years and years and years and years and find something that they might have said that was off color, something that they said that wouldn't hold up now. You feel me? And, try to take them down and end their career over it. Similar thing that the CCP did, or similar thing that was done, where his old tweets were dug up, and they found him saying something that the CCP didn't like. Because, like I said, you've got to agree with China. You've got to not attack the communist government verbally. You've got to not say anything bad about them, or else, basically, or else they'll disappear you, which has happened in China. And so this makes sense to me. Like I told you, it's the end result of what a lot of these socialists in government and that we're seeing crop up. It's the end result of what they're preaching. They may not be preaching that in this moment, but that what they're preaching evolves into this thing. And it kind of already has. We've seen it in cancel culture, like I said. We've seen it. And I'm glad that there is pushback now to that kind of thing, because it's amazing. We need to be pushing back. People change, people grow, people develop. Jokes aren't always awesome all the time. They don't always fit all of the time. But yeah, this bodes poorly for a few other movies that Marvel's got coming out. So like this right now, Shang-Chi doesn't have a release date in China. The Eternals is now in danger because the director has been in hot water with the CCP for a minute. A China release for Disney's next Marvel movie, quote, Eternals, is also uncertain. The movie's director, Chloe Zhao, who was born in China, has faced backlash from Chinese nationalists over a 2013 interview in which she said there are, quote, there are lies everywhere in China. Chinese censors blocked mentions of her Oscar win on social media earlier this year after she won Best Director and her film Nomadland won Best Picture. I mean, two of the biggest accolades at the Oscars. An Asian woman won, a Chinese woman won, and her own country, her own government, they disappeared it. So they wouldn't allow anyone to publicize that that's what she won, to celebrate her, because she said that there are lies everywhere in China. So y'all need to, let this be a little bit of a cautionary tale to some of y'all who drink certain teas from certain tea makers. Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun for your accolades and your countrymen, the place that you grew up in, the place that you were born in, where you hail from, where you're connected to, that the powers that be there, because you stated, you spoke your truth, they silenced you and any mention of you, any mention of your legacy, and any mention of any accolades that should be something that should be celebrated among Chinese people, among women, among people in general, should be celebrating her, let alone just her country. But her country was not allowed, was censored. Anyone who wanted to say great job, good job, she won, look at this, we're censored. Let that be a lesson to y'all, because I don't think we want that to come here. As much as there are some of us out there that will go, yeah, silence this, silence that, shut them down, shut this down. It's great to like be in the position of the argument, or in the feeling like you have the moral high ground, that you want somebody shut down and their ability to express and their legacy is shut down for any little thing, because she spoke her truth. But I know it's these same people that don't yell that out when it comes to their doorstep, that do everything that they can to make sure that it doesn't come to them, to stay acceptable in the social sphere so that it doesn't come for them. And I don't know. I think that's kind of a paranoid way to live. If people got freedoms to speak, people should be able to speak their truth and live in their truth. If it's not hurting someone else, if it's not impinging on somebody else's right to be, right to exist, it's not causing any pain to anybody else, you should be able to speak your truth, because words are just words. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. They hurt your self-esteem sometimes. You may feel it a little bit because they're barbs, but you've got your health, you've got your life. You're not in Mortal Kombat where if they say a word, your life now ends. So just something to think about. What do y'all think about this? What do y'all think about the CCP in being, or communism or socialism or whatever, the extremes that humans can go to just wanting to have power over other people? This us versus them mentality that evolves into me versus everyone, because someone's got to be at the top. Let me know what y'all think about that. It's an interesting thing to talk about. Maybe we can have a discussion in the comments. So now a little bit of some cheeky stuff. We got Britney Spears. Looks like she's getting emancipated slowly but surely. Let me drink some of this water. Getting emancipated slowly and surely. Excuse me. Now all of a sudden her father, Jamie Spears, is trying to get her out of the conservatorship, and the lawyers are saying, yeah, it's probably because he's trying to dodge misbehavior, misconduct having to do with being the proprietor, the head of said conservatory. Conservatorship. I think that's the right word. He's trying to escape. So now he's all, oh, yeah, take her off. She's good. When she wasn't good all this time. When just months ago she was saying she needs somebody, if they don't want to get her off of this thing, to at least have somebody else leading it, because her father is horrible. And her management is horrible and all of that. And so it looks like she's probably going to get emancipated. She is flaunting an engagement ring from her man. She's taking hold of her persona and presence on social media, and more power to her, girl. If you're there, you're there. You do what you got to do. She knows what her health issues are. We don't need to necessarily know that. We don't need to be in that kind of business. She knows what her life is, and she knows what she wants to get out of her life. And by all means, go get your paper, boo boo. Go get your life. Go enjoy your life and be at peace. The story that we're talking about, though, is a fun little cheeky exchange that was had between Octavia Spencer and Britney Spears' new fiance, which is super funny. He took it like a champ. He took it on the chin, and he was a good sport about it. Octavia Spencer, this is according to Entertainment, to the EW. Octavia Spencer advised Britney Spears to get a prenup, and the singer's fiance responded. Oh man, this was cool. This was cool. Britney Spears had a lot to celebrate over the weekend as the pop star announced her engagement to longtime boyfriend Sam Asghari. And among the many congratulations that came the singer's way from celebrities like Paris Hilton and Willie Gomez was a little piece of sage advice from none other than Octavia Spencer. Quote, it was, make him sign a prenup. The Oscar-winning actress wrote in the comments section of Spears' Instagram post, in which the singer included a video showing off her sparkly engagement piece along with a series of ring emojis. Spencer's comment didn't go unnoticed, receiving more than 25,000 likes, including an acknowledgement from Asghari himself, who simply replied with a 100 emoji. Man, that was cool. Nigga said 100%. That's fire. Spears' fiance continued to show his sense of humor later when he shared his own happiness about the engagement on Instagram and added a cheeky response in his story that alluded to Spencer's remark. Quote, thank you everyone who is concerned about the prenup. Of course we're getting ironclad prenup to protect my Jeep and shoe collection in case she dumps me one day. Oh man, this guy's cool. Or at least that was a little cool thing going on. The news of Spears' engagement arrived the same week that Spears' dad, Jamie Spears, filed a petition to end his daughter's conservatorship. It seems that this is one of the first steps the singer is taking to reclaim her life, and much of the world couldn't be happier for her. Facts, man. Facts. You know, she knows what her fights are. She knows what she needs to go through. What she knows what's going on with her emotionally and mentally and things like that. So I'm not gonna speak on that. It's finally, you know, it's great to see someone coming out from under abuse and getting to live her life finally. Britney Spears was a child star. She was in the spotlight from a young age and probably wanted to be, for all intents and purposes. We don't always know what we're getting into. We're jumping into things as kids. We definitely don't know. We just want to go do it. We just want to have fun. We don't know what we're not thinking about the negativity that we're going to encounter, whether it's backstage, whether it's on camera negativity, whether it's social media negativity now in this era. We're not always cognizant of everything that's going to possibly happen to us, both positive and negative. And she's certainly gone through it, you know, being with K-Fed and just kind of going through all kinds of emotional upheavals and mental upheavals and career upheavals. It's just great to see that, you know, someone's out here becoming emancipated. It's beautiful to see someone being set free. You know, just I wanted to share something positive. It's so much. It seems like she's been beaten down so much by this conservatorship, and to just see her out here smiling and out here like, yo, this is my life. I can't help but be happy for her. What do y'all think? What do y'all think about this Jamie Spears thing going on? What do y'all think about her fiance, her fiance's response? What do y'all think? Let me know. So we've got some more. Let's see, some more cheekiness. I guess it's about Biden. You know, I guess at this point it's funny. I guess talking about Biden and wild stuff going on. Not the deaths that he might have, not the blood that's on his hands, but just the gaffes and the like incompetence that's going on. It's laughable at this point. This is according to Fox News. White House abruptly cuts feed of Biden mid-sentence as he asks question at wildfires briefing. Oh, my Lord. So, you know, same kind of thing, basically. He's coming in, going to ask questions, and they cut the feed. You know, when he goes off of book, they cut his feed. He said time and time again, oh, I have to leave. You know, I'm not supposed to answer questions. Oh, I'm not supposed to. And then he goes, okay, what question do you have? Never in a million years is a president going to be on there saying my staff told me I'm not supposed to answer questions, especially about pertinent, important. I mean, he did that for Afghanistan. I'm not supposed to answer questions. And then he's trying to leave. He's trying to escape. It's like, are you kidding me? And then he goes off of script when they don't expect him to, and then they cut the feed because they're afraid of what he's going to say. They're afraid of what he's going to blurt out, or if what he blurts out is just incoherent gibberish, and then the jig is up. I mean, to me, the jig is already up. This guy is on his way out. And no offense to the elderly, no offense to those who get up in years and develop certain kinds of conditions and so on. Sometimes it's a natural thing. You know, it's a natural progression. You use your brain for so long, it over time it deteriorates. So it's not necessarily something to laugh at. In terms of like, ha ha ha, look at you, you can't this, or you can't think all the way for yourself. You know, it's not that. It's more so that, quote unquote, this is the most popular president that's ever been voted in. He got the most votes of any president ever in the history of the United States, and is so incompetent. And the administration is so incompetent because at this point, I see Biden as a puppet. My opinion, he's a puppet. They got him to run for president. He's run a whole bunch of times before and got called out for lying before to the people during the campaign. Just bald-faced lies in his other campaign runs. He's run for forever, so many times. He's a career politician since he was young. And he's like, oh, do you want to be the president now? This is how it seems like I went. You want to be the president? Okay, great. All right, let's try to make you the president. It seems like it's his advisors, his cabinet, the administration that's running the show, and Biden is just kind of the mouthpiece. He's just kind of gonna say what's gonna happen. Yeah, which makes things look, seeing it like that makes things look even worse, because if you've got so many people coming together to make these decisions for the country, and it's not, the president doesn't really have a lot of say in it. The physical dude, He's not really making decisions. He's just saying what they're telling him to say. At this point, at least that's how it appears. He's just been saying what they've told him to say. And then anytime that he says what he wants to say, it comes out as gibberish and nonsense, and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I think Biden is just a puppet now. So whenever I say Biden or I'm being critical of what's happening with the president, I really mean the administration. I do not believe for a second that he's making his own decisions. At all. Not for a second. And it's just wild. So he was talking to So the White House abruptly cut the feed of President Biden's briefing on wildfires with federal and state officials. During Monday's visit to Boise, Idaho, Biden received a briefing about the ongoing wildfires that have plagued several states out west. While Biden spoke for much of the briefing, at one point he said he wanted to hear from George Geisler of the National Association of State Foresters. Quote, "Can I ask you a question?" Biden asked. Quote, "Of course," Geisler responded. He goes, quote, Biden, "One of the things that I've been working on with some others is," and end quote, Biden said before being cut off mid-sentence. The White House did not immediately respond to Fox News' request for comment. Of course, when y'all watch it, they sort of have it on Twitter. RNC Research has got the feed. It's literally like they don't play music, they don't play anything. The lady who's doing the sign language, they just abruptly put the White House logo on top of everything. We don't even get to see the camera. So it's not like he's talking and we don't hear him. They just, no, we're done. Like, whoa. I've never seen this before. What do y'all think about this? What do y'all think about Biden? Do y'all share in my opinion that this dude kind of looks like he's a puppet? Kind of looks like he's just saying the things that they want him to say in the binder from the earpiece. He's not really saying the things that he thinks and feels often, and when he does, it really looks bad. Like it looks even worse than the worse that are the things that they're telling him to say and the decisions that they are making. Let me know in the comments, because I really do think this guy's a mouthpiece. I don't think he's the president of the United States. I don't think he's making decisions. I think he's sitting there because he's got to be there. You know, Uncle Joe's got to be there, get him his juice box. Then everybody else talks about what has to be done. Then they talk to him a little bit about it, but you know, it is what it is. And then they make their decisions, and then they put it on the prompter or they put it in the binder, and he says what he needs to say, what they tell him to say. It was an interesting thing seeing him. Was it at the G4 summit or something like that? With the other world leaders in a round table, and they're talking about, I forgot what they were talking about. And he's just like, he doesn't know where he is. He's saying things or making commentary on things that happened seconds ago that they've already moved past. Like, it's wild. It is wild. But yeah, it's sad. It's sad too. I don't think Biden should be paraded around in the way that he is, almost Weekend at Bernie style, almost damn near Weekend at Bernie style. Just because he wanted to be president. We give an old man his dying wish kind of thing. But yeah. So, last story, and something kind of cool. The Matrix 4 trailer dropped. I'm going to drop a link in the description to let y'all know, so that y'all can see the Matrix 4 trailer if y'all haven't seen it. I have my own opinions about it. I'll talk about that on the next episode. But I got a really cool little story too. The Matrix 4 this is according to movieweb.com. The Matrix 4 director shares Keanu Reeves' profound thoughts on the finished movie. Writer-director Lana Wachowski is set to blow our minds if Keanu Reeves' reaction is any indication. So, the article reads, after a prolonged wait, the Matrix Resurrections trailer hit the net last week, and fans were thrilled to see the promise of a return to the original recipe that blew their minds in 1999. Director and writer Lana Wachowski appears to have hit the nail on the head for fans, as she did with The Matrix. But the real proof is in Keanu Reeves' reaction after screening the final cut. Lana relays this about the experience. So I thought this was really interesting. Really, really interesting. So, quote, "We showed the film to Keanu. He really was blown away by it, and he said something that was typically Keanu, where it's incredibly insightful. And he's just sort of sitting there, and you don't expect some incredible revelation to come out of him at that moment. Like, casual brilliance just kind of rolls off of Keanu. And he was just sitting there, and he goes, 20 years ago, you told a story in which you described the coming 20 years and the problems of the nature of digital virtual life and how it was going to impact us and how we think about it, and gave us a frame to be able to think about it and talk about it. And you took the same character and the same stories and the same stuff, and somehow you made it about the next you made it about the next 20 years. And he was like, how did you do that? So I guess, I mean, if Keanu is stoked about this movie after seeing the final cut, I mean, let's see what happens. I'm gonna talk more about it next week. My theories about the Matrix trailer, the theories about Matrix Resurrections. But yeah, if y'all haven't seen it, seen the trailer, link is in the description, and let me know what y'all think about the trailer. What theories that y'all have about what's going down with this movie? Because it kind of looks like it's a retread of the first movie, but we're gonna see. We are going to absolutely see. All right, y'all. Our time is over. Thank y'all for spending this much time with me. If y'all made it this far, thank you. I mean, 1 or 2 minutes of listening, it counts. Thank y'all so much. Every little bit counts. Make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell icon so you can get the notifications on YouTube. This is the Social Millennial Podcast. We are at Social Millennial Pod with one N at Facebook and Instagram. We've got merch going on, so please, if y'all want to support this show, want it to keep going, want it to keep developing, because by all means, I mean, because as you can see, it has definitely developed, and you want to contribute monetarily, hit the link in the description. Go grab yourself some merch, a cup, a pillow, a mask, pick it up, a pen. It's out there. We have everything for y'all. It will be for a limited time. I will be shutting down some of the products and bringing them back as well. We've also got a Christmas rollout that's going to be coming soon. All right, y'all. It's going to be Christmas themed. It's going to be Christmas designs. All right, y'all. So look out for that. I'm going to keep plugging it. Don't forget to leave a comment. Don't forget to leave a review. Wherever applicable, on Apple, on Google Podcasts, leave a review of the podcast. Comment. Let us know what y'all think about the podcast. Let us know what y'all think about the episodes. Let us know about comments about stories that y'all want us to talk about. Because I will definitely do it. I love reading the comments. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Stay safe. Stay together. Stay united. We're going to make it through. All right, y'all. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.